This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the Tortuga Tech Organizer, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. If you find this video helpful, make sure you subscribe so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. So the primary pack material that we're working with here is Tortuga's Shell 200. So we've seen this on quite a few packs and different things over the past few months, and we really like this material, but it is unique on a tech organizer, and I'll explain why in just a little bit. But this Shell 200 is 200D recycled polyester. It's really water resistant, which is good for a tech pouch because you don't want your tech to get wet. I know this thing will probably be inside your backpack most of the time, but you never know when something might spill, or if you get caught in a really heavy rain and some water could sneak in, and it'll keep your tech fairly dry. So it does have a DWR coating, which is PFAS and PFOA free, which is a little bit better for the environment, and you see a lot of companies doing that, so a good shout from Tortuga on that front. But one thing to note is that it doesn't have a lot of protection, and as you can see, I can really move this around with my hands pretty easily. So if you are carrying that, like if you're just walking to the coffee shop and you have this with you or something, or just there are a few situations where you might just be carrying this, it doesn't have a lot of protection. So if you were to drop it and you had breakables inside, which with tech you never know, it doesn't offer a ton of protection. But if you're just keeping this inside your backpack, that's not a huge deal, at least for me personally. But I know that is something that other folks might worry about. But as you can see, this thing is very minimalistic. We've got YKK zippers running around the outside of that main compartment. The tabs are pretty sleek and just easy to use. If they get wet, they are a bit slippery, but hopefully your tech pouch zipper pulls aren't going to be getting wet. It comes in at, let me make sure I get this right, 0.23 pounds or 1.04 kilograms. So because of that Shell 200, it is very lightweight. So you're not really taking up a ton of your weight allotment if you're flying, on your carry-on or something like that. But overall, very happy with, the materials on this, so long as you're not really rough on your tech pouch. We do have these 2 little loops here on the bottom, so you can attach it inside of your bag, or even on one occasion, I kind of made a makeshift sling out of it. But one thing to note about that, if you do that, it is going to be the zipper's upside down. So just something worth noting, I think. But as I said, overall, very happy with the exterior of this thing. It's very, very minimalistic. You can see the Tortuga logo there when you're up close, but from a distance, you're really not going to see that. So overall, very happy with the materials and how this thing looks. But if you want a little bit of extra protection, this material might not suit you very well. So moving into the main compartment, as you can see, we just have this one zipper here. So no secondary compartments, nothing like that. So opening this up, because of how wide this zipper goes, you can really open this up wide to get a good look at what you have stored inside. So I packed out what I typically pack in a tech pouch, and as you can see, there's a lot of leftover space. So we'll get over what some of the space I'm not using could be used for and why it's good and bad, I think. So we kind of got an accordion style opening here. On this front logo side flap, we have a zippered compartment with this takes up pretty much the whole front face, goes all the way down to the bottom. So a nice sized pocket to lock things down. So this is the only real, what I would call like a liner zippered pocket. There's no other zippered areas other than this main one right here, which is just kind of in the middle, so it works a little bit differently. So this is a good place to lock down things you don't want, moving around the main compartment, or you want to know exactly where it is. So when you open this thing, it's like, I know that I stored an SD card in here, so I can go in there and grab it, or whatever it is, an adapter or something like that. I don't carry a lot of small bits and bobs inside my tech pouch. It's just not really how I roll. So I didn't have a huge use for it, but I think that it is handy, and I'm glad it's there, even though I didn't particularly use it, because on a certain trip or a certain day, I might need to put something in there, and it doesn't get in my way otherwise, so I like that it's there. Below that, we have a daisy chain. Get nice and close up there. So this is made from elastic, so you can put larger items in here, and they'll kind of be stretched and held inside of there. I did use, when I was actually recently testing some cables, I put the cables inside of here, and those worked well. They kind of got in my way a little bit, especially if you stow stuff inside this zippered pocket. So if you have a cable that's inside of there and you're trying to access this zippered compartment, it can kind of just get in the way. But overall, I think it's nice that they're there. Again, they're not in my way when I'm not using them, and if I need to use them, I can. So I've just got a pretty large battery bank stowed inside here. This is the one that I actually bring with me every day. I take it on trips as well. It's a 20,000 milliamp battery bank, and it's very big. So there really isn't a good place to stow this inside this bank other than just in this big area here. So I shouldn't say there isn't a good place to stow it. There is. There's just not like a specific designed pocket for it or anything like that. So this stows nicely inside of here. But I did find when I had this inside of here, and maybe I didn't have as much on this side, like I was using something, it tipped over a little bit easier than I'd liked it to. It's not bad, like it's not falling over on its own really easily, but when you overload something on one side, it's gonna do that, and that's also accentuated, I'm not even sure if I said that word right, but it is like, it just makes it worse because these materials aren't super structured, which again, I kind of like because it makes it lightweight, but it doesn't, they don't hold their own as much, so it's easier for it to get knocked over. That's me being very, very nitpicky, but I've seen commenters on YouTube talk about that in the past, how they want to set this on their desk at the coffee shop, hold this flap down, and they want it to stay there and not fall over. So I thought that was worth mentioning. So I'm gonna go to the other side of this organizer before I go to the middle. Just two elastic toppered mesh pockets. I've got my Joby Grip-Tite 1 micro stand. If you've watched enough videos, you know that I absolutely love this thing. And then this side, I've just got my Power Brick, which I like having both of these in here because I use them quite frequently. If they're in one of the zippered areas, I would have to go through another zipper to grab them. So it's nice if I want to take a photo or a selfie or something really quickly, I can just jump in and grab this, or if I'm ready to charge, I can jump in and grab this as well. So another area similar to that of on the other side, just a big open area on this side that you can stow another large item. Maybe you want two 20,000 milliamp battery banks. You're traveling in style, you want all that juice. And then in the middle, we have this zippered pocket. So this is actually where I kept my cables. So I've got 3 cables, a micro, all USB-C because that's what my power bank or power brick is. Then I've got micro USB, USB-C, and Lightning. So I like keeping those there just because it's like the first thing you go to when you open in here. So they're pretty quick to access, but at the same time, they're still, not allowed to roam free inside the main compartment and getting everything all tangled up because they're inside this zipper. So I think that overall, this accordion style really works well. The materials might be a letdown for some people, but overall, I think they work pretty well as long as you're not really rough, like you're not throwing this thing around or anything like that. And I think it just looks really sleek and it looks nice on the table. So if that means something to you, I think that's worth noting. So there you have it, the Tortuga Tech Organizer. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you on the next one.